Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Hollowtide here, and we have a hefty mid-season update for Marathon. They've been kind of quiet recently, not so many updates throughout the beginning of this season. Seems like they were saving a lot of this stuff for the mid-season update with Vault Breaker and things like that, but it's pretty hefty. This is Marathon Update 1.1.5. If you guys enjoy playing Marathon and you're looking for a YouTuber that covers the game and doesn't doom post all the time, this is a spot for you. I could be your second favorite Marathon YouTuber, trying to hit 25,000 subs this year. I also do Halo content. If you enjoy this video, if you're happy with the future of Marathon, leave a like, hype the video up on mobile, and let's get into it. Like I said, it's pretty hefty. There's like item economy updates, shell updates, XP, cradle, weapons, a whole bunch of stuff. On the screen, I will have those like paragraphs or bullet points that they have so you guys can read everything, but I'm really going to cover what I think is the most important stuff. Obviously, the big ticket item for this mid-season update is Vault Breaker. It's only going to be here for 2 weeks. I actually go out of the country this Saturday, so I'm going to be able to play like a couple days. I will give my thoughts in a video soon. I want to play a little bit of it. Obviously, I'm more of a PvP person, but I do think PvE could have its place in this game. I think a lot of people will kind of gravitate towards that who don't like the PvP aspect of it. Do I think it's going to save the game and 10,000 more people are going to log on? Probably not, but we'll see what happens. So, Vault Breaker, you explore the Cryo Archive as a crew, duo, or solo player, and you take on progressively more challenging vaults. You got to figure out if you want to keep going or just go ahead and exfil and call it a day. You grow stronger across multiple runs with progression that's unique to Vault Breaker. So that's very cool. Obviously, we've gone over Vault Breaker before in a lot of videos. The rewards and stuff that you can get. Obviously, when you exfil, you don't get to keep all of the loot that you get in the Vault Breaker playlist, but it turns into like money and stuff. But you can get a currency called Vault Day, and you can use that to buy stuff from the armory that's unique to the event playlist. There's a lot of item economy updates. I'm going to put them up here. Things like Ganglion. The Cradle actually got a 25% reduction in progress earlier in the season. That has now been reverted, so it's easier to upgrade your Cradle. You can now do the Prestige evolution system with the Cradle, where when you reach level 70, you get a new option to evolve that Cradle. It increases the energy limit by 1. You get reset to level 1. And you can do this a total of 7 times. They did say that there was going to be like cosmetic rewards for doing this, but I don't see any mention or teasing of that. There were pursuit upgrades and some of the capstones. Some quality of life stuff for items and inventory. Add a toggle to enable or disable a free sponsored kit upon death. That's kind of cool. Fixed an issue where scrap would not convert into credits even if there was inventory space to do so. That seems kind of bad. Glad that's fixed. For rank, they fixed an issue where rank points could incorrectly display as 0. And fixed an issue where ranked sponsored kits would not immediately refresh on rank changes. I have a video I'm working on that will release while I'm on vacation about ranked, so keep an eye out for that. Some map loot updates. A lot of these were just issues, and it seems to be on Dire Marsh / Night Marsh, so that's good. They also fixed an issue where players could get stuck on a container in Vault 2 in Cryo Archive. Some miscellaneous fixes. They're not like crazy huge, but here they are. All right, we're getting into the combat section. A huge change for the mid-season update is that there are equipment items that are loadout limited, so only 2 loadout limited items are allowed in your loadout when you infill. You get an error if you have too many. So this includes bubble shields, chem grenades, EMP grenades, flechette grenades, frag grenades, and heat grenades. I think that this is going to be a huge change to the game, especially in the Cryo Archive. I'm excited to watch people play and see how this changes the meta, how it changes the flow of the map and things like that. They're less of an issue on, maps like Perimeter and Dire Marsh, and maybe a little bit more of an issue on Outposts, these close quarter maps with tight hallways and things like that, indoors and everything. So Perimeter and Dire Marsh, a little bit more open, but I do think that it's going to change how the game flows. For the bubble shield, they removed the player's slowdown on entering a bubble shield. They reduced health in PvP from 560 to 400, but increased health against UESC from 1680 to 2500. That's kind of crazy that the bubble shield can differentiate and like have different health settings. I didn't realize that. Fixed an issue that caused explosions from grenades to not do any damage to bubble shields. What the heck? But increased the damage explosions from grenades due to bubble shields by 2 times, man. You're going to be deleting these things. For the energy amp, passive prime ability regen reduced by 40%. Passive tactical trait ability reduced by 40%. Increased buff time granted by energy amp from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. That sucks, man, because I be popping them things at the start of matches with Destroyer and just absolutely running straight to another POI to use my, big prime ability to shoot rockets at people, and now I'm sad. For invisibility, invisibility will flicker off after sprinting for more than 2 seconds. This change affects invisibility from any source. So, like, if you get in smoke nades and stuff like that with Assassin. They say that it's currently too strong as a tool for just sidestepping PvE encounters. I agree, man. If you're running solo, using Assassin to just farm contracts and get past the enemies was way too easy. So, hopefully this helps with that balance. We're getting into the runner shell changes for the Assassin. Smoke Dive reduced base cooldown from 60 seconds to 45. That's cool, I guess. Recon got some changes. They reduced Echo Pulse base wave count from 7 to 5, increased time between those waves from 2.5 seconds to 3, and reduced Echo Pulse base ping waypoint lifetime from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. People love Recon and like Cryo and stuff like that, Outpost. Sometimes people run multiple recons, and 7 to 5 sounds like it's 2 less waves, but when you have 2 recons or 3 recons just constantly spamming this stuff, even with the energy amp changes, I don't know if this is going to change how strong recon is. Just being able to tell like who's a bot and who is a real person. We'll see what happens. Hopefully all these things, combined help balance the game a little bit better. For the Thief, the pickpocket drone got a little change. They got, while in flashlight-enabled zones, they have an intrinsic dark sight to help navigate, so they get the dark sight lens basically on the drone. That's cool, I guess. Sentinel had a couple of changes as well, including to their defender system. They fixed an issue where the system was able to catch grenades while fading out at the end of its lifetime, and reduced the base cooldown time from 180 seconds to 150. For the snare mine, they increased the maximum detonation damage per sub-munition, Pete, from 5 to 7 against enemy runners, and they increased maximum detonation damage from 30 to 35 against non-runners. Prey Tracker is also no longer scrambled by Signal Jammer. For Destroyer, they had an issue with Search and Destroy. They fixed it where sustained damage from the biotoxic disinjector weapon was not counting towards building rocket charges. Rook also got a little bit of love. They increased the heal rate from recuperation from 2 hit points to 3 hit points, or is it health points? And increased the healing duration from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. For implants, they updated the iconography to help reflect their unique traits. For backpacks, the sneak pack had an issue where the signal jammer did not affect claymore activations, and now it does. Getting into weapons, there's a lot of changes with weapons in this update. The battle pistol had its precision bonus multiplier changed from 1.5 to 1.38. This affects how many bursts it takes to down runners with different shields and stuff like that. Basically, it goes up 1 extra burst. For the Vault Thrower, they removed the 0.5 second target acquisition time to better enable ambush-style gameplay. They increased the projectile velocity speed from 56 meters per second to 80 meters per second, which is actually kind of crazy. They completely retuned the rate of fire and firing spin down. This weapon sounds like it's actually going to be super worthwhile to use. I think people slept on the Vault Thrower in the first place. It's kind of like the Needler from Halo, but now I feel like this thing is going to be super strong, and I'm going to be taking it into more matches. The Twin Tap got some love too. I actually love the Twin Tap. I think it's slept on. They increased the base damage from 22 to 24. The precision bonus multiplier from 1.3 to 1.4. The speed between rounds in a burst by 50%. That's pretty cool. But with that, they also retuned some of the recoil. And then they also mess around with the regen prestige mod. For the KKV, they redistributed damage profile to lower reliance on headshots. I actually really like this gun. It's not the strongest in the game, but they increased the base damage to 9 up from 8. The tactical sidearm had some ADS stuff. The Bully SMG kind of had a nerf with the rodeo magazine size going from 72 to 61. They reduced the magazine size from drum mag from 66 to 58. And they reduced damage fall off at the high end and retuned damage fall off at all range stats to compensate for this. They teased the Waster shotgun getting a buff. The damage increased from 85 to 100. They reduced the precision bonus from 1.05 to 1. They increased the spread by 20% across all stat tiers. So you're going to have to get up in somebody's face. And then they show off the damage fall off across all tiers for a 2-hit knockout against the gray shields and purple shields and stuff like that. The Mizzy got a huge nerf, in my opinion. Damage reduced from 140 to 110. The precision bonus went from 1.2 to 1. The RPM went from 72 to 58. These are all crazy nerfs. They also retuned the damage fall off across all tiers. And for the full auto prestige mod, they reduced hipfire RPM from 72 to 58. Both the hipfire and ADS now fire in full auto, because before it was just hipfire. But in addition to all of those changes, the hipfire mode massively increases movement speed when it's equipped. That's definitely going to change the loadouts for people in like cryo and stuff. I think that I don't know. It's hard to balance power weapons like shotguns and snipers when these things are supposed to feel powerful, but you know, they're very oppressive if you're taking people out from too far away, but then they're useless if you got to be right up in somebody's face. So we'll see what the changes are like. There was also some quality of life stuff done in the zones, you know, like fixing issues like floating geometry and stuff like that. I have these up on the screen. You can pause the video. And then we move on to the stability and graphics. Couple of quality of life stuff there as well. You guys can pause the video. But that's it for the mid-season update. And it's pretty hefty, I think. I feel like when they do big updates like this, it really changes the game, you know, all at once. It feels like it's almost a new game as opposed to little incremental changes throughout the season. I honestly don't know which I like better. Like, obviously, I want quality of life stuff changes more often, but the game will feel completely different now when it's all done at once. I'm excited to hop in. I'm going to try Vault Breaker. I'm excited to see how PvP is actually affected with all the weapon changes and stuff like that, man. I know they gave away Mizzies at the little carry thing during the last week, and I'm sure a ton of people just bought a whole bunch of them thinking that the nerfs weren't going to be that bad, but I think they're in for a rude awakening. But that's going to do it for the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hype the video up if you're on mobile, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.